Welcome to another episode of GeekOutdoors.com. So back in 2016, I did a PC build, or as I like to call it, my Monster Linux PC build. And so today we're in late 2019, heading into 2020, and I was curious how a PC build from 2016 would perform in today's modern benchmarks. And so that's what I'm going to be doing today, using some very commonly used benchmarks whenever people want to test their system. And in order to do that, I will be using Windows 10 Pro. And before I get into the benchmarks, let's go ahead and look at the hardware that I'm working with. For my processor, I have an Intel Core i7 6700K CPU running at 4 GHz. It has 4 cores and 8 threads. For my motherboard, I am using an MSI Z170A Tomahawk AC. For my memory, I have 32 gigs of DDR4 memory. And then for my graphics, I'm using an AMD RX 470 GPU with 4 gigs of RAM. And for all my system storage, I am using SSDs, and I also have a mechanical drive for additional storage. So let's go ahead and look at some of the benchmarks that I will be running. The first one I'll be using is Cinebench Release 20 or R20. The next one is going to be Geekbench 5. And then I'm going to be trying out Unigen's Superposition Benchmark. And then finally, I'll be trying out a new benchmark, Blender Benchmark 1.0. Now, for all of these benchmarks, I will be recording this and use my camera, so then I can use the maximum amount of hardware available to get a true test of how this system stacks up. So let's go ahead and try this out. Okay, so let's start with the very first benchmark with Cinebench Release 20. And I'm just going to be running the multi-core because the single core would probably take forever. So let's go ahead and get this started. Okay, so the test finished, and it took about 2 minutes and 34 seconds. And in terms of my score, I got 2,161. The last time I ran it, I got 2,096. And so how it compares to other graphics card, obviously it's way below because they have like Xeon Platinum, Ryzen Threadrippers, which are 2 to 8 times more powerful. But I think it's pretty respectable right now out of these benchmarks that they have. 1 through 13, I'm ranked number 8 and 9. So I don't think that's too bad, considering that this PC is about 3 years old. So let's go ahead and move on to the next benchmark. Okay, so next up we're trying out Geekbench 5. So let's go ahead and run this CPU benchmark to see how this performs. Okay, so Geekbench completed in a little over 2 minutes. My single core score was 1,161. My multi-core score is 4,502. So now let's move over to Unigen's Superposition Benchmark, and then finally finish everything off with the Blender Benchmark 1.0. Okay, now we have the Superposition Benchmark. Let's go ahead and run this. Okay, so Superposition finished in a little over 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And my results are 6,937. Minimum frames per second was 43.48. Average 51.89. Max 66.48. And I'm not sure how this ranks based upon others. But at least for me, the overall quality looked pretty good. There wasn't really anything that was stuttering or looked like it was performing poorly. And so that is Superposition. So now let's go ahead and move over to the final benchmark with Blender. Okay, so here we have a new benchmark. It's called Blender Benchmark 1.0. This is the beta version. So let's go ahead and run the quick benchmark to see how this machine performs. Okay, so that Blender benchmark took quite a while. It took 36 minutes and 10 seconds. So let me see if there's a way to look at my stats. So you have to go here online, very similar to Geekbench. Unfortunately, I can't see it because I have to set up an account. Oh man, that's a bummer. I just spent 36 minutes doing that without realizing that I have to sign up to look at my results. So anyways, that was kind of a waste. But those are all the benchmarks that are run. So let's go ahead and give my final thoughts. For fast website hosting and top-notch customer service and features, check out Siteground, the preferred service used at geekoutdoors.com. For more information, check out the affiliate link in the description area below. Okay, so from these system benchmarks, the first and most important question that this answers is, can it run Crysis? And the answer is yes. My 2016 PC build can definitely run Crysis. So all jokes aside, just looking at these results from a PC build that's a little over 3 years, I think it's pretty good, especially for my needs. So if I wanted to do like some high quality, high resolution gaming, I can do that at about 60 frames per second, maybe a little bit higher depending upon the game. And then when it comes to content creation, I'm already doing 4K content video editing on this machine. However, if I wanted to do more complex projects or do even higher resolutions like 6K or 8K, I'm definitely going to have to make an upgrade. Now, where my machine really struggles is with 3D rendering, specifically with this Blender benchmark. Now, that's not to say I can't do it. Things are just going to take a lot longer because 3D rendering requires a lot of hardware power. And so if I had to think of some upgrades that I can make, it's definitely going to have to be the CPU first. I'm going to have to get like an AMD Ryzen multi-core, multi-threaded processor. And along with that, I'm going to have to get a new motherboard. And then other places I can make upgrades is my GPU and maybe even my storage. I can get an M.2 NVMe that will be a little bit faster than what I'm already using with my SSDs. And so that's my overall thoughts on my 2016 PC build system benchmarks. For me, it is still a wonderfully powerful machine, and it's done pretty well over the years, and it still has a lot left. I can still do quite a few things with my existing machine. I could overclock my processor. I could do additional optimizations, and so there's still room to grow here. And so if you actually had any thoughts on my PC build benchmarks or any of your own, be sure to leave that in a comment area below. And if you did want to see my entire Linux PC build from 2016, I will also leave my playlist in the description area as well. So as always, if you did get value out of these videos, be sure to share, like, and subscribe. Hey geeks, if you are a creative geek like me and you wanted to learn how to create content on YouTube and other places on the internet, then check out my Go Content Creators group, where you'll get access to additional videos and content for all the creative geeks out there. And the best part of it is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and sign up for my Go Content Creators group. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side.